Hey guys, thanks for joining me for A Course in Miracles summaries. This is chapter 2. I had a lot of fun doing the first chapter. I'm excited to continue on here. I just wanted to share something about my personal story before we start. Um, I mentioned I use these principles for my own healing. I just wanted to explain that a little bit. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis quite a few years ago, and I wasn't able to get too much assistance from the conventional medical system. Um, and so I was looking for other ways to heal and true root cause analysis on why I was sick. And this is the book that really, I believe, has the principles that can teach the cause of and root cause of illness. Especially in my case as an autoimmune disease. I just find it interesting with autoimmune, right? Your body is attacking itself. And these principles in the Course in Miracles would suggest that we are attacking ourselves and others through our thoughts, things like that. That's what ultimately can make us sick and having misperceptions. And working through those, my own misperceptions, I've found a lot of relief and a different outlook and perspective on life that I believe has led me to healing, and I hope it leads you to healing as well. So let's get into chapter 2. Chapter 2 has 8 subsections here, and the chapter's heading is the separation and the atonement. So I'll let you read through. Some of the interesting subsections here are healing as a release from fear and conflict, the function of the miracle worker, and the last one here, but the meaning of the last judgment is pretty powerful. So let's get into it. Let's do a little summary of what chapter 2 is all about. So chapter 2 explores the root of suffering. The belief in suffering from God. This separation is the origin of fear, guilt, and the ego. The chapter introduces the concept of atonement as the correction of this error, restoring awareness of our oneness with God. It explains how fear blocks love and distorts perception, and how accepting the atonement shifts the mind back to truth, healing the split. So that's pretty interesting here. So the root explores the root of suffering, maybe the purpose of suffering here, and the origin of like the separation. And when the Course in Miracles talks about the separation, they're talking about the fact that we're in a separate body, but what a lot of people are missing is even though we're in separate bodies, we're all connected in other ways, and through maybe spirit or love or ways that we don't understand. So let's go into the 5 key takeaways for chapter 2. Again, we're going from 1 to 5, with 5 being the most important, but they're all important. So number 1, defense mechanisms block healing. When we rely on our own defenses, like denial or projection, we reinforce the illusion of separation. True safety comes from trust in God, not self-made projection. So sometimes we put up our own blockers for healing, and we project things on other people, like they're the reason that we're not getting what we want, or they're the reason we're upset, or look how bad that person is. But what we have to be careful of is, are we trying to protect ourselves from something? Are we trying to protect ourselves from perspective? Are we somehow trying to protect ourselves from seeing the truth in the situation? And it may be blocking us from true healing. Okay, number 2, fear is not real. It is a misperception. Fear arises from believing in illusions. It stems from identifying with the ego, which sees itself as vulnerable and separate. So it's kind of the thought is here as well, firstly, that fear is not real, which is very interesting. Like, it's just something we've made up. And if you look at it, look as it from a kid's perspective, watching like a scary movie or something like that, right? It's all fake. It's all drama. It's all a perception of maybe what could happen, and then it scares us. And so it's not actually real. It's just an image or an illusion that we built up. But the interesting thing is, if we see ourselves as vulnerable and separate, like we're just this body that we're in right now, and this body is vulnerable, or can be vulnerable, it makes us scared. It makes us scared of what could happen. And there's a bit of a release if we understand that that's just a misperception. It's just a perspective I'm taking. And if we feel more connected with everyone in the universe as one, as in we're all loving and we love each other, then that fear can dissolve. Because we're not separate, we're not vulnerable anymore, we're all together. Okay, number 3, the miracle restores right-mindedness. Miracles correct false perceptions and realign the mind with love and truth, helping us remember our divine nature. So if you remember from the summary of chapter 1, the first main point was a miracle is a shift from fear to love. And so what Jesus is suggesting is these miracles, these shifts from in perspective to love, is what helps realign the mind and restore the mind to think properly. Okay, number 4, the ego is the belief in separation. The ego was born from the idea that we could separate from God. It thrives on fear, guilt, and individuality, but it is not real. So it's really interesting, like the ego is spoken about a lot in this book. And I believe there's a purpose to the ego, although it causes us a lot of suffering. It is trying to keep the individual self safe ultimately, but by doing so, it comes with some penalties, let's just say. And it allows you to see the world, kind of forces you to see the world through your own perspective. That's the only perspective you have. And it's hard to see the world as a whole, or as that everyone is together, everyone is one. And the ego perpetuates that belief that we're all separate. And it's not conducive for healing or for getting rid of fear. Okay, the last but not least, number 5. The atonement is the core correction. This is the most important point. The atonement is not a punishment, it is a loving correction. It undoes the air of separation and reminds us that we are still united with God. Accepting the atonement is how we awaken from the dream. So the atonement here is a little confusing for me, and it took me a while to understand it, and I still am, understanding as I read the book. But the atonement is kind of this principle where we as humans need to believe in something bigger than ourselves to lift ourselves up in a way, like see what's possible and know what's possible and know that there's a greater truth, that we're all in this together, we're all one. And the truth of that is we're all love, in my opinion. And if you align yourself with that, it helps to lift the illusion of being separate, being, it's just me, it's just Ryan, and that's all there is, and I better get mine, or else someone else is going to take it, or I'm not going to get what I'm here for, or I won't be able to survive, or something bad might happen to me. But those are all illusions and misperceptions. We're all in this together. We're all human beings. We're all here to learn about the atonement and join it together in terms of, aka heaven, in my opinion. Anyways, so those are the 5 key takeaways for chapter 2. I like to get into some of my personal favorite quotes that resonated with me for chapter 2. There's a few here, and some of them are really, honestly, doozies, little short, little tidbits. And I just think they hit so hard, and that's why I love Jesus as a teacher. His teachings are to the point and hard to argue with. So here we go. The first one here is, peace is an attribute in you. You could not find it outside. Illness is some form of external searching. Health is inner peace. It enables you to remain unshaken by lack of love from without, and capable, through your acceptance of miracles, of correcting the conditions proceeding from lack of love in others. So that's just interesting. A lot of illnesses comes from a lack of love of oneself, and really that starts with perceiving that others don't love you, and then you continue to perpetuate that belief, and you aren't as loving to others as you could be. Okay, so the next one here. When we are afraid of anything, you are acknowledging its power to hurt you. And this kind of goes with the next point. So I'll say this next point as well. You believe in what you value. If you are afraid, you are valuing wrongly. So it's just really interesting. You're kind of, the more you make things real to you, or the things that you're afraid of real, you're acknowledging that it actually has power to hurt you, right? If you dissolve it and say, they can't hurt me, it's not even real. I believe in love, and love that is not loving. And so it kind of dissolves the power to hurt you. But if you can build it up into this big thing in your mind, it is something that will hurt you, and it's something that will affect your perceptions, right? So be careful what you value and what you give energy and attention to, because it grows, right? You know that what you give attention to grows. Okay, my next one here is, it is hard to believe a defense that cannot attack is the best defense. This is what is meant by the meek shall inherit the earth. They will literally take it over because of their strength. A two-way defense is inherently weak precisely because it has two edges and can be turned against you very unexpectedly. That's such a beautiful quote, and this is something that I've taken to heart and trying my best to practice in my day-to-day life, is the art of no attack, and that's showing strength, and that is the best defense. And what a beautiful way to phrase it, saying that, you know, there's two edges when you have a defense and an attack, and one can be turned against you. The attack seems to always eventually turn against you, and that's kind of like a little bit of a karmic law, right? If you want to talk about it in that regard. And so I just believe that's beautiful, and that true strength comes from not attacking, and that's hard to do and hard to practice, and hard to see the strength in it, but you can, and it's beautiful. Okay, next one here. Discomfort is aroused only to bring the need for correction into awareness. So this is suggesting that the purpose of suffering is a correction tool. It's no more than that. It's not meant to, although it does hurt, I understand, and I've had my own fair share of suffering. It's not, the purpose of it isn't just to suffer and make you feel pain. It's just like a cut, or the pain response is to show you that this is something that maybe isn't good for you, and something needs to be corrected here, right? To prevent it from happening. Okay, the last few quotes here. It must be understood, however, that whenever you offer a miracle to another, you are shortening the suffering of the both of you. So that's really beautiful. And that's a way to help your suffering. If you're not sure where to start, well, offer a miracle to another. Offer a loving thought, a loving gesture, a loving smile. Okay, there are no idle thoughts. All thinking produces form at some level. So that's so interesting, and that's really one of my big takeaways from the first few chapters is really, your thoughts do matter. How you think of others really does matter, and it affects how you think of yourself and how you act in reality. And it's something to be fearful of. It's something to use to your advantage, and understand that there is power behind your thoughts. The next quote here: the miracle is the means, the atonement is the principle, and healing is the result. The acceptance of the atonement by everyone is only a matter of time. So I think that's beautiful. I think, in my opinion, we're moving towards a shift of perspective of love being a valuable perspective, and having more answers than maybe just the intellect. And Jesus is really laying it out here very simply, and that's why it's funny in the book he refers to his teachings as simple, and I have to laugh at that, because they are, and I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, they're hard to practice and put into your life. And so that's a bit of a funny joke there, but it is really laying it out very simply here. So the miracle is the means. So the miracle is shifting from fear to love. Okay, so that's the miracle. The atonement is the principle. The atonement is the fact that there's a loving perspective. God is holding a loving perspective towards you. Jesus is holding a loving perspective towards you, and you can share in that and give that to others as well as yourself. And the healing is a result. So as a result of this, changing your thoughts, your body will heal itself, because you're thinking of yourself differently. You're perceiving yourself in a different way by acting in the world, acting out miracles in the world, acting out love in the world. And I just think that's so beautiful. But anyways, I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks so much for joining me for the Chapter 2 summary. Please feel free to leave a comment on your favorite quotes or parts from Chapter 2. And yeah, I'd love to get some dialogue going. So much love to you all. Thanks so much for listening. I wish you the best of luck on your healing journey, and much love. Yeah, thank you. Bye for now.